Have you, by any chance, seen videos with people recording themselves before and after going to their job? Well, if not, do you have, by any chance, an employed friend? Or are you employed? If none, then you're in for a treat. Goddamn, I was going to have a 12-hour shift today, but I am already late. I've slept for about 4 hours, and that is fucking terrible. Also, one time I've heard from a man that if your working hours are written in numbers, not in digits, then you should not accept such a shift. And that man was the main manager at the place I at the place I work at. Anyways, I was going to be late either way. What are they going to do? Fire me? Oh no. Besides, they have attempted that before, and I still have the job. I'm still there only because of people, which is terrible mistake. I should be looking for something else, but it pays the bills. Anyway, as I woke up today, I have realized a terrible mistake on my part. I have nothing to smoke today. Well, nothing besides double click Japanese cigarette tasting like Zozola and orange Tic Tacs. And I think this this day will be a long ride. I've been playing board games with friends all night, and now it's slowly coming an evening of another day because I'm doing a casual reboot of my life, which means I'm not going to sleep till the night, and then I will wake up like a normal person, because waking up in the night, or to rephrase it, going to sleep at hours such as 10 a.m. are quite frustrating. But I wanted to show you something. My fridge. This is what's inside my fridge. A slab of meat, ketchup, and a bottle of whiskey. Immaculate vibes. But, I don't drink too much. You can understand it because there is a bottle of whiskey still full in here. I will probably use it for the meat. Meat, whiskey together. Tasty. A terrible realization struck me. Is this a vlog? Well, you will become what you hate the most. Anyway, you know Leonardo da Vinci, right? Does the name of town Vinci come from vincere? Because if so, it would mean Leonardo da Vinci is Leonardo of victory. So, W. Leonard. This might be unnecessary, but I cannot sleep, and I was thinking about Greek mythology and how fucking stupid I am. Why cannot I understand metaphors? Hydra is a water lick, and if you stop one, two next appear, and you gotta go to the heart of it to stop it. I am a fool. I don't even think that I told you what I do. And what I do is work fast food. And you know, that was not the worst shift ever. And there are people that work much harder. It's not the toughest thing to do, but it is quite mind-numbing. And although I would like to say that I cannot take it anymore, I cannot live like that. The scary thing is that I can, and the perspective of it is quite terrifying, because I can, end up with years of experience in selling burgers, because there is not enough, there is not enough of bad things to push me to desperation and to doing stuff. And also there isn't many good things, perspectives that could help me achieve something else. But I guess this is my life. Yeah. Besides that, oh, spider on my wall, why have you come here? Do you not see? Wait, let me show you. Little spider on my wall, have you not seen signs of your demise? Have you not seen footprints on the wall, marks of the end of your existence? I am not here to judge, and yet I will be your end. They say that life repeats its lessons until you learn them. But you, my friend, you will not have another chance to learn. Yeah, so I'm going to kill the spider. I'm going to play some video games with friends, and then I will repeat my days as I always do. And I guess this is just, how to say it, I don't know. Even when I'm not tired, I have trouble communicating my thoughts sometimes. Well, shit. This is my life, and if I don't do anything more than just survive and go to work and go back home and repeat, then I'm gonna end up as something I really don't like. While at the same time it is really hard for me to do things that could give me some, I guess prosperity, some achievement. But I guess I just have to force myself to do stuff. And I guess that is all if I was incoherent, then well, I am actually not that tired, but there is no drive. The fire within still burns, but it's but a little flame now. Anyways, have a good day and see you later. As of recording of this video, it is 9 a.m. and I am yet to go to sleep. By the way, this is not the same day I recorded the last recording. But I wanted to preface something before I go to sleep. Is preface the right term to use? I don't know now, and I don't care. But I wanted to say that me talking shit about my job and about working low-level jobs is not an expression of shame for the people who work such jobs. Neither is it expression of shame towards those jobs in general, right? Because, you see, there is this old Polish saying that states żadna praca nie hańbi, and it means that no job dishonors you, or perhaps no job disgraces you, if you will. And I think we instinctively understand what it means, right? No matter what you're doing, if your life situation demands it, you do what you gotta do. But there is something so utterly heartbreaking about people I've met, especially as a young person, as a child even, learning perhaps too much for my age of struggles of adults and how terrifying of a prospect it is to work for your whole life and seeing your ideals change, seeing your dreams devolve into dreams of retirement. I want something more. And if I don't do something, I will join those grey endless masses that throughout the eons have fought and had to change their goals for more realistic ones. But I am not a realist. I look very funny in this perspective. Nice. But I have to take care of my hair more often. So anyways, if wait, what was I saying? I am not a realist. Of course I'm not. My dreams reach far beyond the everyday, which in fact means that my dreams of grandiosity detach me from reality of everyday life. And as I was saying, if I don't do anything, I will not succeed, whatever. And I've been struggling to do stuff in general, and yet I have persistently yet slowly achieved something. My situation is getting better with, well, years. as years go by, and it is not enough. And in fact, I do not believe that within myself I have what it demands of me, what is needed to do stuff just purely for myself. And a thought occurred to me that I might record it as I have recorded myself before in my video journal, just for me, not for you. And perhaps in this way, if I make a project of making my life better, if I make a project out of making progress, which would mean that if I want to present to you in a video a success, I might simply, as stated, present it and not feel it and in fact not achieve it. But knowing that I do believe that I can stop myself from doing that and going forward, and I think the rest will be planned accordingly. But for now, I need breakfast and to go to bed. So, hello, good morning even. It is, in fact, morning, which means I should be asleep. Sun is out, sun is up, and I should be dreaming, but I am not. I'm not quite sure how long have I not slept, because I don't remember at what hour I have awoken last afternoon, but it's getting close on a full day, 24 hours. But I am not yet going to sleep. I have wet hair, I've just taken a shower. I am not yet going to sleep because there is something about staying up for extended periods of times that does something for me. Like, it feels sometimes as if I need this additional time to actually wake up truly, because usually my day is filled with nothing special. It's filled with going through motions of regular life. But when I am really tired, like after not sleeping for 24 hours, for example, it feels kind of fresh. Kind of reminds me of childhood a bit. I don't know what it tells, what it says about me, but anyways, I have been wondering why I am recording this, because I have stated that perhaps showing you what I do might help me do stuff actually, instead of just lazying around as I usually do. Uh, as I usually do. But it did not help. In fact, I am quite sure I have said that I will not record for a bit because I am going to do some stuff and I want to put my energy into that. And yet, my progress is so minuscule that it's embarrassing. I am not talking about anything obscene. uh, my mind went into small penis jokes immediately. But it is minuscule, my progress. Uh, but I think about doing something all the time, to the point in which I think I convince myself that it is actually an action, because it drains me of my energy, and I constantly think about like recording something or editing something, doing something besides just motions of regular day, besides going to work, getting back, cleaning, sleeping, eating, going to work. And even though as I said, I convince myself that thinking about doing something is akin to doing something, it is not, in fact, the same thing, and it will not yield the same results. So why am I recording this rather? Well, I think I just fucking love hearing my own voice. And besides that, uh, there is some strange thinking happening. Like, I, on the one hand, want to be known, like, in understood way, right? I want to be understood, yet at the same time, I am holding back speaking about anything more personal. Like, I did some of it here, but I'm still not convinced if uh, publishing this, uploading it to the web is a great idea. But you know, who cares if it's a good idea or a bad one? I will just do what I think I should do. And I was thinking about my situation here, where I really want to move with my life, like, let past be past, let's move on. And yet I find myself incapable of action that is not purely required for my survival. I can go to work, no problem. I can manage myself reasonably so that I'm not a stinky, fat mess. I am gaining weight, actually. I am fatter than ever before, but I am still at, like, not good looking levels, I would say, but at levels that don't impair me very much. And, I don't know how to say it. I am doing pretty well for my own standards. I am living on my own, I am paying my own rent, I am cooking my own food. And yet, if there was some situation, something that happened that would require of me to put much, much more energy simply to stay at this level, at this, let's say, status quo, right? I could find that energy and do whatever it takes to just be at this comfort level, right? But I don't just want that, I want more. because I am a greedy motherfucker. And I want to create, I want to pursue some passions, but at the same time, I don't fucking know what do I want to pursue. I'm very indecisive in that. Like, I have been to university. I've been doing pretty well, although I felt like I was not doing well at all. And so I dropped university. And then I went to another university. I dropped out of there as well, although for different reasons. And I feel like it speaks to my uh, lack of like a single-minded drive that would push me through some long-term investment of my energy, right? And I feel like there's something I am really uncomfortable uh, acknowledging about myself, but I do think I have a bit of a victim mentality, and I am a bit of a fatalist. Even though not actively, I think there is some, especially the fatalist part, there is some part of me that is always like that, but I am not actively listening to it. Funny story. I had this thought once that, oh no, I am not a child anymore. And I've lost this time, this period of my life that everybody told me was supposed to be this most carefree, this most liberated part of my life. And yet I've lost it, and I did not feel in such manner at all. And I was 11. I remember that quite clearly and vividly. Although in different words, perhaps not even fully in words. I thought that, and that stuck with me, and I felt like that about basically every part of my life. And yet I am doing better and better. And not only, unfortunately, of my own doing, and, maybe I am not a self-made man, but at least the fates favor me. And towards the other part, that I have a bit of a victim mentality. It's just me needing an excuse. Not an excuse to not do something. I would still not do something, even without an excuse. I just need to feel a bit better about myself not doing something. And, not that there were not times in my life where it wasn't necessarily untrue, I would say. And yet, I feel like if I had a different mentality, it would be much easier for me. And yet, I am who I am. And I do not fucking know what to do with myself and how to move forward and how to go beyond what just is. I have just acknowledged what I was talking about at the beginning, that state in which I feel more awake than normally. I am in my head so much throughout the day that I need this tiredness to drown out the background noise of basically thinking all the time. And it is calm and peaceful, and it feels like I am grounded in reality, and uh, it feels good. It feels like I could just watch my surroundings and be satisfied with that. And I don't know what else to tell you. I have no fucking clue what I am doing with my life, with this video. Who the fuck knows? And the frustrating part is that there are so many people just like me, and I don't wish to uh, impose myself onto my friends, but I know one dude that I was speaking with, and he uh, told me how cool of a job would it be to be a streamer, and that he very much would like such position. And yet, as we were speaking, and as I have finally told him, well, you there is no other way for you than to start doing so. And he said, well, that's too bad. And that is too fucking bad, because unfortunately I am quite certain that he will not start streaming, because he works, he goes back home, he does his little routine. He's very chill, he's a very lovely person, but I feel like he lacks realization that he can achieve more. And I feel like if I've made it in a way, then I could help so many people around me with making them realize that they too can make it. Like, not only with some technical or material stuff, but just realizing that, hey, some dude I know just made something and it's good, and maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can do something too. I am just very frustrated with myself and with how much I fall into patterns of behavior. You know, the only thing that I actively do very regularly, and isn't something I've been doing for years and years, is playing guitar, which I've been doing for about 2 years, because it's just such a lovely thing to do, right? And I am fucking terrible at it. But still, I love doing it, and it's such a breeze to do it. Perhaps because I have no preconceived notion of me doing good at it, that it is so easy. I do not expect of myself basically anything in terms of playing, and so I can just do it. And it is very fun. It is also tired, uh, partially with me doing much better mentally. Like around the time I've started playing guitar regularly, there has been some different changes in my life. I've cut some people off, and basically since last year I feel like I have not been doing this well and feeling this good in fucking ever. There is one like scene from my life that has stuck with me, because in a different city, in a different time, I have worked and lived with my friend at the same job, and we rented apartment with some other people. And one day after shift, we were sitting in a bus and getting back home, and I was just full on like Shinji pose from Evangelion, sitting with my head in my hands, just bowing to my knees. The scene where he sits on his little fucking chair and his little fucking miserable boy. And my friend was like, "Hey dude, are you okay?" And I was like, yep, I'm okay. And compared to that, I am doing so fucking good. uh, Even if nothing else, if I am a fucking low life and I cannot achieve anything else, I can be happier and more content. And I have to stay awake for a bit longer today because I want to reboot my sleep schedule again. Will it work? I don't know. Alright, it appears I have to be quick before I have to go to work. Firstly, he ripped my shirt apart out of my body, and it was one of my favorite shirts. But yeah, it was extremely hectic, extremely unprofessional, I guess. And here's the thing, I've never boxed, and even with that, I was doing pretty well at the time. Although I think I went into a bit of a shock because it was a first for me, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing? What the hell is going on?" And I was audibly saying those things. And of course, he didn't come alone. One of his friends came as well, and he was like, "Well, you shouldn't have started it." After they actively pursued me, and I was, yeah, doing pretty well. I actually, as I was going through the motion of the fight, as you do, well, he made one haymaker, as they call it, and I actually ducked under, which I feel amazing about. It was great. And you might think that after doing that, it's a great opportunity to strike back. But throughout the whole fight, I was actually not attacking him, like even once. And wait, do I have to go in a second? And after that, he landed a front kick on my solar plexus, after which I was fucking done. Like, there was no way I actually bent over and he jabbed me a couple of times. And actually, he bent my motherfucking glasses on my motherfucking face. Well, maybe you can see I rebent this one, but you can perhaps see a little dent still in here. And this one is actually not where the hit landed. So perhaps it just bent as it flew off my head onto the ground. And one more thing I want to add. You know how in movies and in media in general, when somebody chokes somebody out, they use their hand on their throat. This is not how you choke somebody out. I know this because I know how to choke somebody out. But I was always thinking how stupid this method is. But today I woke up and I can feel my windpipe. So perhaps it's not about choking somebody out, it's just the mechanical force of pushing your hand into somebody's throat that does the damage. Like actually holding here does nothing and is easy to break, which I did. But still, I got my shit kicked in. I can feel a bit of pain in my windpipe. I can definitely feel a bruise in here. And one more thing I forgot. I got extremely lucky. Like, this guy, which is embarrassing for me, was not a good fighter, but he was extremely aggressive and knew what he was doing. So I guess he had experienced street fighting before, but he was bad. Like, if not for the fact that I did not know what was going on, I would probably do better, or I would have run faster. And yeah, pretty unscathed for such experience. You can't actually see much damage on me, but chewing hurts a bit, but I would have expected more from the stories I've heard. So yeah, don't get into street fight, I guess. Hello. Something rather amusing happened to me. Firstly, just to, how do you say it in English? Firstly, to wrap things up, that's the sentence. To wrap things up, I don't think I've got a front kick into a solar plexus, which was, I think, now I think about it, rather unlikely from the beginning. But based on some evidence of bruising, it was more likely a liver shot. If I would, yeah, that was grammatically making sense, I guess. If I would be to stop myself from doing something just because there might be some consequences of other people's perception of who I am and how am I living, how I am living, whatever, then that would be acting on fear, and that would be acting very, I don't know, dishonest, stopping yourself, shackling yourself, your own self, with binds of your own making. And I guess I don't want that for myself. So, yeah, I also believe that, okay, hang on with me, because I know there is a lot of ideas about masculinity and being a man, but I will 100% believe that somebody is more manly if they don't care about others' perception of their masculinity. Because what do you think is more manly? To listen to other dudes' words about what is masculine and then changing yourself and acting upon those statements to be perceived as man, or simply going your way and doing things your own way, to your own accord. Because I think the second one is much more masculine. But I also think that masculinity might be a bit complex for my tired self right now. So, yeah, I did not care to the point where I did not give a fuck what others think and do. And in fact, I did not care what I do or think or how I act. And I guess this whole tangent is to say I kind of lost who I am. I don't remember, perhaps even, although I've heard that I have not changed much, it does feel much different. You know, there is certain imbalance between us, you know, because firstly, you've got all the information. I don't know you. I don't know where you are. I don't even know when you are. But you can see, I am in my apartment. My name is Tomasz, and it is currently the year 2025. But one thing for certain is that you are in my future. I am currently not privy to certain information you might possess. And in fact, all of creation exists in such form. When you create, it is a blink captured. It is a certain moment that might be a very long moment if you create over a long period of time, but still experiencing something created always exists as I look back in time. Which brings certain interesting questions about conversation and communication, because depending on how you define it, uh, conversation on, because I forget the word in English, communication. Communication does not have to be in person, definitely not. It doesn't even have to be in a certain period of time. It just requires that there is information sent out it is then received and understood, and I don't remember the graph of the theory. There is, the the little thing that goes back, which might bring even yet another question. If you are in the future, and I am now, then am I even here? Well, no. But to the point, I guess this whole yet another tangent on a tangent brings us to something. Because at this moment, I have no idea who I will become, even in a day. But you might know, or rather, I might know. So, whether I will be a man of success, somebody who achieves those things they want to achieve, somebody who acts, is in fact an actor, or is it a story of somebody who gives up even more? I do not know, because you see, I have no destiny. And also, tonight, in one of those nights, I am full of my own shit and self pity. But I guess it happens. Hmm. I think it's a bit tacky, and I don't know the term. Is it lowbrow or highbrow? Do you guys in the English language even have terms to describe somebody's status based on their brows? I think I've heard it somewhere. But tacky, kitsch, perhaps, to speak of one's achievements and basically about themselves. I think there is more, uh, you know what I mean. If somebody else talks about you, there is more, they are more trustworthy, perhaps, even if they are not, uh, even if they don't have the full story, the full knowledge. If somebody else speaks about you, they might seem a bit more truthful, I guess, because they give an outside perspective. But I guess there is nobody to tell you something about me besides me, and if you want to know one thing, you need to know one thing about me and who I am. I have once heard from a family member, quite a lovely person, that they have expressed their surprise that I have not fallen into usage of hard drugs, which was one of the strangest things I've been told about myself, and yet quite telling about, I guess, my life. And I am still wondering if this thing I feel tonight, right now, because besides the joke before, I am truly here. I am now. Will I finally break my own cycle? Will I act to achieve, to be myself, to find myself? God, I am a pompous bastard, am I? Am I not? Is this how you speak English? I do not know. Or will I be forever forgotten? And you will not even see this video because I will not show it. Well, that is to be seen. I assume in the next section of the video. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I've got myself a little book here that I've been meaning to read for quite a while, but I was too lazy to do so, and as I have to return it to library, I read it finally. So it was recommended to me, although unpersonally, through a video, in fact, as something quite light that you could read in a day, and those things are true about it, because this is Meditation on First Philosophy by Descartes, in translation by somebody. Maybe I will find it. I will not. This is unimportant for now. Whatever. Anyways, I have opinions and I have conclusions about it. Firstly, this is quite interesting. If you wish to read it, you can do it very fast and without much trouble, although I have read it even faster than I would normally, because I do in fact have to return it. So I assume I don't have the best grasp on contents, and yet the introduction to it by Descartes seems very political and apologetic, and it seems like he tries very hard to make it seem that if you do not agree with him, you are a fool, you are a stupid idiot. And then, in terms of form, it's very much a stream of consciousness, written as if each part was written in a consecutive day. And I think it might be true that it was written in chronological order, because I don't know why else it would function like this. Because, firstly, this is subjectivity. This is ship of Theseus. I have no idea how to pronounce Theseus in English. Theseus, something like that. Ship of Theseus, I guess. But anyway, this is also solipsism, because I have never before heard argument for I think therefore I am, as made by Descartes himself, and it is very, very solipsistic. And he makes this argument at the very beginning of the meditations. And it seems like he wrote himself into a corner he found himself in a pickle because he proves that he cannot prove anything besides the fact that he is. And then he goes on and tries to prove existence of God and existence of physical things and things other than himself. And while I think the first argument, the solipsistic, I think therefore I am, is the strongest argument he makes, I also don't think this whole book was thought out before being published. I believe he wrote the first part and then he had to figure out how to write himself out of this pickle. And he writes some interesting things. He has interesting observations about like nature of things, about subjectivity of experiences and such. But his arguments for existence of God and existence of anything besides himself seem kind of murky, undercooked. Uh, so yeah, it's all right. I, for the most part, was not convinced by his arguments, but rather I was thinking about what he tries to prove, especially because of the introduction, which is like very much talking to powerful people of his time, that this is not really a book on pure philosophy where he tries to get to some actual truth. I think he does that at the beginning, but then he has to uh, introduce some ideas that people in power to whom he speaks would agree with, and I guess that's just not good enough for me. And in conclusion, this book made me realize that I do, in fact, stay in my head too much. Because one more thing this book is very much a manifestation of the statement that a man who only thinks, or what was it? A man who constantly thinks has nothing to think about but his own thoughts. This is that. This is very much that. And I guess not my vibe. I don't want to do it. I need to do literally anything besides thinking to get myself like out of believing in solipsism. Oh god. I do not believe in solipsism. It might be mm, not even proven, but impossible to disprove, but that's besides the point. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm just stupid idiot. But believing in it disagrees with my understanding of reality and just doesn't seem fun. And I would much rather have some fun. So yeah, I have to go to sleep. It was a long, long day. Yeah, this book, couple of hours. And I have to get it back to a library. So, see you next time. I may not know what I am doing. So, couple of things, as usual. Firstly, I don't think I will be publishing this until I'm gone from here, perhaps in another city, with another life. By the way, fun fact, you may see this striped wall behind me. It is the very first thing I've noticed when I was looking for an apartment and came across this one, because the first thing that came to my mind when I have seen this wall was this very obvious and well-known fact that uh, is it horizontal? I guess so. You know what I mean. Horizontal stripes make things look larger. And for a second I thought, what kind of an asshole makes extremely tiny apartment and then puts something like that, an optical illusion in it to make it look bigger, larger. But then I thought, you know what? If you're going to lend, well, however you say it, if I am going to pay you for a tiny apartment, then the least you can do is make some little optical illusion to make it look bigger so that I don't go insane as fast. But since I have started recording this little project of mine, hahaha, I have not been doing much besides it. It is still good. It is something. Uh, Something besides, just going to work and back. And it reminds me kind of think I've already spoken of, which was my video diary, which in which I have forced myself to record myself for 100 days straight. And I had plans to also use it as a kind of leverage on my own mind that now I need to do something because it is being recorded. And I did achieve some things, but not as many as I have hoped for, or maybe even planned. So I don't think I will be recording those tired ramblings of mine for now. I need to focus on some things, and I do have a lot actually projects in my mind. I want to do so many things, and yet I don't have energy for any of them. I feel like this was a side note to something I wanted to say, and now I've lost track of the very first thing. Whatever. Continuing. Oh, I know how to circle it back. If I ever make it, and I try to tell you that, oh, it's not that hard. You just have to put yourself out there and work hard. Like half of this video diary of mine is just me saying how tired I am ad nauseum, which is quite funny, at least to me. I actually think that the hardest job I've ever had was in the field of the field. Terrible month in the scorching sun, and Now, I know that if I spend more energy right now for my future benefits, I will, in fact, benefit. And yet, it is terribly hard. But quite recently, there has been some strange things going in my mind, or rather with my mind, by which I mean that at some point, just on a random day, all of those convoluted and disconnected things that float around in my mind have been sorted. Like if my mind has just clicked. And you know how people say you need to have the short-term goals and mid-term goals and some grand final thing. And I haven't even tried doing that once. But then on a random evening, uh, my mind just did it. And so at least I know the process of going through those things and what I actually need to do to achieve something later on. It is hard. Not always. I feel like I wanted to say something more. I guess I just like to speak. Ah, God. It's getting early. I see the sun out. Good time to go to sleep. Well, perhaps I might tell you about my final goal that I will be working towards. You see, I want to get, hmm, well, money is a little concern for me, but I do want to get enough to not worry about it, which is probably a lot of money. I feel like. But yeah, my final goal in life is to get myself a Zeppelin to go and live in the sky. I need to find a way out of here. I feel a need to explain it because there is a ghost following me that always demands explanation and is never satisfied with them. But I think you might understand. I need to find a way out of here because there must be some kind of way out of here. It's a struggle, I guess, compared to the majority of human population. I don't have it that bad, and yet there is within me need to surpass my forefathers' fate. And I think it's kind of insidious to tell somebody, look, others have it worse. Because yes, they do. And I am sorry for them. will I help them? Well, I don't have any resources to do it now. Or maybe it's just an excuse. I do not know which. But just because somebody else has it worse does not mean I should not strive for something better for myself. I need to find a way. Hello. As of recording of this video, I have not slept for about 40 hours. I have just come back from work. I am stinky and I need to go get a shower. But I thought to myself, maybe by talking, I can get myself not to doze off and fall asleep on the couch that is my bed. And so, I actually have something to talk about specifically. Oh hey, the camera actually sees me. I have been listening today to a song from Denzel Curry called Walkin'. And in Walkin', he speaks in one verse or in two verses, I'm not sure, about confronting the cycles. And this has awakened me like a sleeper agent, but a very sleepy one, a sleepy agent. Haha, truly. My jokes are as dry as the desert. My jokes are as dry as the desert, I meant to say. And it kind of made me think once again about something I have thought about already, perhaps not the fulfillment. And so to reiterate something I've already talked about, I see in people around me certain behaviors, depending on their age, that change them, and as they get older, if you know what I mean, so that they kind of become the stereotypes of a certain age. And so those same people who, let's say as kids or teenagers, would hate to be waved away and told they are just stupid children, now behave as those teenagers, those younglings, are just stupid kids and need to be waved away. And this made me think about certain cycles of behavior, and are we in fact predetermined in a way, or perhaps bound like in a spell or a curse to become such people? And I've been reminded of my high school, because certainly literature in Polish high schools is definitely great, and it is very strange. Some of the books I've read in high school, for high school, are extremely weird and probably would be considered an uncommon choice for such an age group, but it did prepare me for some things like this one. For example, there is a book called Granica, which basically translates to a border. And among other things, the main thing I remember about it is that it speaks about uh, next generation repeating the same behaviors and falling into the same sins as their parents. And the book positions itself in this, as it describes this situation, it kind of positions itself in the uh, belief that this is true and that we always fall into those behaviors, and that we are bound to become like our parents. And do I believe that? No, I have not believed that even while reading the book. Perhaps because of my predisposition to not believe that and believe other things, I was skeptical of it. And what is the answer then? If naturally so many people tend to go through those steps of becoming old, not in age, but in that structure, in that. I hope you understand me. So, what is the answer? What can we do to not become a stereotype or the archetype for a certain age group? Archetype is probably the wrong word, but I am too tired to care. And a quick story. I don't know if you are aware, but the Milgram experiment, the one that, the psychological one that was like, oh, we put you in the room, you push the buttons and electrocute some other person, while not actually electrocuting. It is a study of obedience, perhaps, and uh, following the rules, and what kind of person follows them and what kind of person doesn't. And they are repeated for many, many years. I don't know if all around the world. I know there were such studies in Poland. And one thing about them is that if you know of the experiment, you will be disqualified as a subject in it because you already know it and can predict what is going on, and you can manipulate the results, right? And there are actually very interesting findings in those later studies. But so, if you know about this experiment, you cannot be fooled by it, because knowledge is the most overpowered stat in the existence. It's just that you need very specific knowledge for the situation. Call it problem, call it an issue, call it a task, perhaps. And so there are also other studies. Oh God, I forget. But basically, if you know of certain concepts, you cannot participate in them because simply your knowledge of them will change the results. Not even of the specific studies, but of specific concepts. And so, my answer to the question, are we bound to become all those things I've talked about before, is no, if only we are aware. and aware we can get. And I think it's not that hard. So, whenever you find yourself thinking in a position that's, well, I'm sorry, I'm a mess of a man again. Have some perspective. And I truly do not understand how so many people lack wider perspective on being alive. Like, you have been younger, you know, at least to a certain point, how it feels to be a younger person. And you have more understanding and more knowledge, and you are hopefully a more adult person, so you can deal with that more efficiently. Although, uh, once again, age has nothing to do with being uh, adult. Adult is a wrong term because it invokes certain certain characteristics. I forget the English words right now, but hopefully you know what I'm meaning. So, oh my god, my hair, they are very fucking oily right now because I work fast food. What was I talking about? I have no clue. I don't know if I'm able to remember. Aha! Do I remember truly who I was before? Can I sympathize with it or empathize with it? Well, yes, of course I can. Have some perspective. You know, you were younger. You know, you will be older. And you might or might have possessed or will possess certain characteristics of a certain age group. So have some understanding, right? Like, that person, although not in character or form or the once again I forget the internal things. It is not you, but that is you, right? That is you, just pushed in time. And I don't know, be cool. So that is all, almost. Besides that, I wanted to talk to you about one thing so that I don't forget about it, and if I do, you can remind me of it. And it is that during those 40 hours that I am awake for, I have been on a walk along the long road with trees on both sides and with moon beautifully floating around above. I guess around as well, but whatever.